faster than a speeding typewriter, more powerful than a printing press, able to speak over tall buildings in a single sound. Look, up on the dial!
It's a conservative!
It's a liberal! It's Supermouth! Yes, it's Supermouth, strange visitor from the past with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal talk show hosts. Supermouth, who can change the course of local politics, bend ears with his bare mouth, and who, disguised as Mike Wiley, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan radio show, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way.
If you go through my shows, you'll see that I've already covered all this stuff. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, and I know I've said this before, but I'm in the working on a couple of projects at the same time. But I'm going to put together these shows in the parts format so it's easy for you. These will be on YouTube. And all you have to do is go to YouTube and the World This Week with Mike Wiley, because that's what we called it at the time we started the YouTube thing, and the videos will be there. All right, so now here's our situation. We've won the election. The Democrats failed to steal it because they had all these illegal votes ready to be put in. But the Republicans were ahead of the game this time because they know they stole 2020. We all know they stole 2020. It's easy to see. 2012, there were like 65 million votes for Democrats. 2016, there were 65 million votes for Democrats. 2024, there was 65 million. Actually, she got to about 70 million votes for Democrats. But for some reason in 2020, Biden had 81 million. That's like 15 million more votes than are normal. Where did they come from, Joe? Joe, did you use those votes to steal the election and cause death and destruction to the United States, which now you guys are going to pay for over the next 12 years? I'm predicting this. Okay. So let's see. We had the War of 1912. That was when Perkins Coie was created in Seattle in 1912. And then, of course, a year later, we had constitutional violations in 1913, the 16th, 17th Amendment, and the creation of the Federal Reserve, which was destroyed and removed by Andrew Jackson, 1832, I believe. We had gone quite a while without a Federal Reserve or a national bank. And we know that one of the greatest amounts of treason in the United States, and I consider it treason, was the theft of black people. The Democrats decided that they wanted to steal black people and put them back into control of the Democrats, because here's what the black people were doing. Okay. The black people were left alone, and you know, the Democrats always tell us, oh, they need help, they need help, they help me. Well, from 1900 to 1930, 30 years, Democrats, blacks didn't need no help from the Democratic Party. They were all Republicans, okay? And they had businesses galore that they were building in the inner cities, and I believe at one time from 1916 to 1928, about that time period, they doubled the amount of black businesses from like 20,000 to 40,000. They're doing great. The Democrats said, you know what? We got a plan. We want to capture all the cities, and to do that, we got to make sure all the black people in these inner cities decide to become Democrats. Well, Mike, how can they become Democrats if they're independent business people and they're Republicans and they're all making money? What do you have to do? Well, you got to steal their money. How can you steal their money? Well, you make a phone call. Hey, how's it going at the big bank there? Yeah, I'm so happy we got you guys back, you know. When Andrew Jackson got rid of you guys, we were hurting. But now that we know you're around, we're sure to be able to count on you to screw anybody we want you to. So listen, here's the deal. Yeah, you know all those millions of blacks working on their own, having their own businesses, enjoying life and everything. Yeah, we need to stop that shit. We need to get them back to the Democratic Party, and the Democrats, we believe in slavery. So this time, it's got to be some kind of economic slavery. Can we make them all poor all at the same time? Oh, that's not a bad idea. Oh, you're going to make white people poor at the same time? Well, you know what? A lot of those white people will be Republicans, so we don't give a shit. Yeah. Okay, good. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a fake depression, right? Fake stock market crash. You guys can do that? Oh, you can? Oh, that's interesting. You can go ahead and make believe interest rates should be at 6% when inflation's at 0? Really? What's that going to do? Oh, that's going to cause a money contraction like you wouldn't believe, and the stock market will react to it, and then we can claim it's a crash, and then people will vote for Democrats in 1930, since we haven't been in government for 10 years, and that's why there's no federal debt, and that's why the economies are running well, because no Democrats are involved in the government. So you're going to be able to fix that, so you can get us back in the government. We'll get black people to start voting for us again by making them all poor. Okay, so that's going to work. Okay, good. So what's going to happen is you're going to crash the market on purpose. No, you don't have to. You don't have to apologize right away. Wait till like 2002 or 2004, and Ben Bernanke will come out and tell everybody what you guys did. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to increase. Just want to make sure you're going to increase interest rates to 6% when inflation's 0. Right. Okay. And then normally, if you were to do anything, wouldn't you make interest rates like maybe 1%? Kind of like Obama had in 2012, while he was destroying the economy, and then inflation was 0, or inflation was probably negative. We were so poor, and you guys dropped the interest rates to 0. Okay, good. So we can expect Democrats, blacks to become Democrats, and we'll be able to take over control of all the cities and make the map look like blue zones. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, give my best to those guys. Yeah, all right, bye. That was a reenactment. But I think I got my point across, because it's hard to believe. I discovered it. I've already done a show on it. It's up on Rumble. I was watching TV one day, and there was this black guy on TV, and he was saying that he thinks that blacks have had enough with the Democratic Party. He says we've been voting for Democrats for 90 years. 90 years. So let's see if it's 2023. 90 years from 2023 is 1933, 1933, 1932, 33. What happened then? The Great Depression? What? So I did some research. And I found it all. Found all the documentation, all the evidence, and sure as shit, any black that had been elected to Congress up through 1930 was a Republican. But in 1935, the first black in New York took over a seat from a black Republican. He was a Democrat. And that was the beginning of the second slavery of blacks by the Democratic Party. That slavery ended in 2024 with the election of Donald Trump. And I don't think it's ever going to go again. So for 90 years, the Democrats have basically stolen not only black people's lives, but white people's lives as well. Because a lot of people got poor because of the Depression. And it was a horrible thing. And it could have been avoided, but it was important to the Democrats to shove it up our ass. And Democrats love shoving it up our ass. Not those kind of Democrats. All right. So Donald Trump's going to be president. And hopefully by the hand of God, he lives to become president for 4 years. And then more than likely, based on everything he's going to do, nobody in this country except for communist, Marxist, progressive Democrat scum are going to want to see them get elected. So that would mean that J.D. Vance would be winning re-election. And the nice part about it is he won't have to choose anyone in cabinets except those that decide to leave. But he's going to be able to keep Pete Hegseth for another 8 years. And I'm sure he would keep Matt Gaetz as Attorney General because you can't go after 500,000 criminals in 4 years. You need more time. The next 12 years are going to be the payback for what we've been putting up with the Democrats since the Great Depression. That's right, buddy. That's right. That's what Trump's doing. Trump is setting the stage for another. Remember, Republicans ran the government straight through from 2028. It was the 1928 elections. And the Republicans, I'm sorry, it was the 19, 20, 24, 20, yeah. It was the 32 was, it was 1920 to 1930, those 10 years that Republicans were in charge and everything was wonderful. The Democrats knew that they had to get back into power somehow because while Woodrow Wilson was president, they put us into debt. They created the tax code to steal money from us so they could send money through the Federal Reserve to Europe so Europe could have all the wars they wanted. World War I, World War II, then we had Korea, then we had Vietnam. And what was consistent in all 4 of those wars? Democrat presidents, Mike? Bingo! Bingo! Yeah! Democrats love war. That's not new to us. We just weren't paying attention. So now, we're at a situation where Donald Trump is going to basically put in another 12 years of Republicans, just like we had from 1920 to 1932. Okay? Because McKinley, World War I, McKinley won the election in 1912 and in 1916, and that's why he was replaced in 1920 election. Republicans took over, and for basically 10 years, would have been 12, but basically in 10 years, the Republicans ran the government, no federal debt, not a dime. Of course, they were paying off the $15 billion that the Democrats gave Europe that they were supposed to pay back, but they never did. But I think Trump collected some money from that from them, because all of Europe owed us money for the World War I and World War II debt. That's what Trump's doing. Trump's going to rebuild that 12-year period where everything economically was fine, everything was great, inflation was low, the works. That's what we're going to see. So that's why I believe he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's going to do. And that's why he's picking people like Matt Gaetz. Now, here's one thing that's going to happen. The Democratic media is going to go, oh, Matt Gaetz, watch him do this, watch him do that. And they're going to start showing you stuff you haven't seen. And that's Matt Gaetz in action, being on the Judiciary Committee in the House of Representatives for quite a while. And you're going to watch him pick apart people into little pieces. Now, the first video I'm going to show you, I'm going to show this to you now, is Matt Gaetz questioning Garland, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General. Now, the Democrats thought that Merrick Garland was qualified to be Attorney General. Yet, for some reason, In the 4 years that Merrick Garland was Attorney General, they only went after Trump. They didn't go after all the crimes that Democrats were committing. They didn't see that. No, the blinders. But they went after Trump for 4 years. Now Matt Gaetz, for 12 years, I'm predicting 12 years, because I think Matt Gaetz is going to take this and chew it up and spit them out. Matt Gaetz is going to go after all these people and put them away. Because let me tell you something. You're going to need 12 years to get all and clean out all the Democrats. This is going to be the end of the Democratic Party. Okay? Because what's going to happen is all the real Americans still in the Democratic Party are going to go, F this. And they're going to do what Tulsi Gabbard did, and they're going to become Republicans. Because the Republican Party is now the party of labor. When I was a Democrat, the Democrats were the party of labor. I'm the son and grandson of Teamsters. I grew up in a union house. A union job fed me, a union job clothed me, and a union job put a roof over my head. Don't tell me I don't know the value of a good union job. That's exactly what I used to say in my campaign speech. And after that 60 seconds of introducing myself to the union crowd, they all jumped up and cheered. Okay, I'm a union guy. I'm a labor guy. Okay, I don't want labor forced on people, whether to be organized or not. You let the people decide what they want to do. But for the next 12 years, we're going to be an enlightened, things are going to be enlightened. Okay, I'm just telling you. Because I can see it, because it's already happened. Trump knows what happened. Trump's no dumbbell. He knows exactly what's happened, and we know exactly what he's going to do. And the first thing he's going to do, he's going to start rebuilding the inner cities, which was actually my plan in 1994 when I ran for U.S. Senate, and I started a concept called America First. And that, yeah, it's documented. We have newspaper articles that said Mike Wiley was touting his America First agenda. Yeah, like it was evil, like it was, America First agenda. He's a Nazi, he's Jewish, he's evil. So that's what you're going to see happen. I can predict that's what you're going to see happen. And the next 12 years should be awesome. As long as we can stay out of war, and this is what the communist Chinese Manchurian Democrats are trying to do now, by giving this asshole in Ukraine. I would yank that son of a bitch right by the neck, grab him and take that clown comedian out and lien all his property. Lien all his property. Take all the millions of dollars he has siphoned out of Ukraine and give it back to the Ukrainian people as part of a rebuilding program. And I would place a lien for about $250 billion. I would place a lien on the assets of the country of Ukraine with regard to their coal, their oil, their earth minerals, their iron ore. And then when the Chinese want to take all of it or part of it or some of it, they pay us to remove the lien off of that property that they want. And then we're going to take that $250 billion and we're going to rebuild America with it. I know what they're going to do. I know what they're going to do because it's logical. It makes sense. That's how you do it. You have to fund things. Okay? We already put out $250 billion. The American people are already paying for it. So let's get the money back, but let's put it into America. Let's rebuild our cities, new buildings, new roads, new everything. And that's why he's picked Duffy to be Secretary of Transportation. Because he's going to rebuild all the roads and the bridges and all the whole works. And he's young enough to be there for a while. Trump isn't just picking people for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. He's hoping that he's picking people that are loyal to America. And I believe that's exactly what he's doing. Exactly what he's doing. So, all right, so here's the video of Matt Gaetz interrogating Merrick Garland, the man Democrats considered qualified. Okay, but he sure as hell isn't qualified to stand toe-to-toe with Matt Gaetz with brains and intelligence. Here's Matt chewing them up and spitting them out in little pieces. This is about a 5-minute video.
Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
If you make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't because there's a federal rule
Oh.
barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
Look, I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
Yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're
before
connecting the
another
dots,
court.
Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on an
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew
That's
Colangelo,
false.
Matthew
False.
Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ, and then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the DOJ.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know
I
what?
can tell you I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired, here Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family is making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. No one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law. And I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service. I see my time's expired. I yield back.
On the advice of counsel, I'm not going to answer that question, sir.
Asserting privilege.
Privilege against self-incrimination.
And did you knowingly break any laws when investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you break any laws when you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
Same response.
Ms. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights when you worked on the Trump investigation?
Objection.
I have the same response to your question.
Mr. Pomerantz, did you violate any person's constitutional rights while you worked at the Manhattan DA's office?
Objection.
Same answer.
Did you misuse any federal funds while investigating President Trump?
Same response.
Did you misuse any federal funds while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Same response.
And did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you violate any New York State bar rules while you were working in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
Same response.
And did you violate any canons of legal ethics when you were investigating President Trump?
Objection.
Same response.
Did you ever violate any canons of legal ethics while you worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office?
Objection.
The same response.
The health of the America is good, but we still have a nagging cancer in the nation, and they're called Democrats. They are a cancer. They've always been a cancer. We just haven't figured it out. Just go from the day they assassinated Lincoln and follow it all the way through and see what they've done. Okay? Maybe you don't know American history like I know it, but there's, I'm telling you, you want to know how many times blacks were attacked on Election Day and killed by Democrats? It's just too many to believe. But none of that history really comes out, and they don't teach that history in the schools. But I have documentation. I've done shows on it. And I'm gonna go through my shows, and I'm gonna edit them down into more fact-oriented and take out some of the entertainment floods that I include. But so there's 2 shows I've just done. I'm gonna work on them now, and we'll get them out to you later today, so you'll have it for tomorrow. We're in good shape. Just pray to God to keep protecting Trump, because they're not going to stop. Biden gave Ukraine approval to fire missiles into Russia. Now, I know it wasn't Biden that gave the permission. It was either Obama or the people Obama worked for, which is Perkins Coie. Okay, Perkins Coie basically has been running the country since they took over in 1912 when they started, and it's not good. It's not good. We need to be free, and we need to take this new unity government that we have. We've got Democrats and Republicans together. Basically, they're Americans, and they're going after Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, jeez. They're using that stupid blonde bitch from South Florida, Wasserman Schitz, and Wasserman Schitz. And she's attacking. She's a Russian agent. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. You don't know shit, lady. By the way, I was investigating your military record, Miss Wasserman Schitz, and I couldn't find one. So I guess you've never served the country, have you? Oh, it's okay to say that someone who's been in the military for 20 years, she's a lieutenant colonel, and she's a Russian agent? Get out of town. I love you.